It's something new every day.
How are you?
Very good.
Okay, when I go in, usually when I go in 20, they have my GPS people make me turn before I get to the square. They come around.
He's not guilty, don't worry. He'll never do it. Don't worry. I promise.
You should be. Right. I do a lot of family. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Bud Smith. I'm chairman of the Ethics Committee for the City of Hampton. I'll be serving as the hearing administrator for this public hearing on the ethics complaint on today's agenda. Before we get started, I'd like to ask is Veronica Atkins present?
Here.
And Ms. Atkins.
Hi.
I just want to introduce Ms. Veronica Atkins. She has been approved by the city council to be a member of the ethics committee. And we will have another meeting on April 30th, and that'll be when you start with.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I'll give a brief summary of the facts of the alleged violation along with the alleged code violations. We will be hearing the complaint of Mr. Elton Brown, originally filed December the 10th, 2018. Mr. Brown filed a complaint against Mayor Steve Hutchinson, Councilman Henry Byrd, Councilman Earl Mitchell, and Councilwoman Stephanie Bowden. In that complaint, Mr. Brown states that the above referenced individual violated the following code of ethics of the city of Hampton. Ethics policy, section 2-292, 1, 2, and 3, intent, confidentiality of executive sessions, and ethics policy, sections 298, A, B, and C, coercion. Opening statements will be 5 minutes for each side. Mr. Brown will have the first opportunity to open. Mr. Brown, since you have 4 council people involved, you will have 5 minutes for each one, for a total of 20 minutes.
So in opening statement, you mean I can present my case? I get a copy.
Do you have an additional copy?
Yeah, there's a copy I can make. Good evening. Chairman of the board members, my name is Elton Brown. I'm just going to present to you what I have as far as my complaint. Today is the hearing against Mayor Steve Hutchinson, Henry Byrd, Mr. Earl Mitchell, and Ms. Stephanie Bowden. I respectfully ask the Ethics Board to review this petition and consider finding Steve Hutchinson, Henry Byrd, Earl Mitchell, and Stephanie Bowden in violation of the following: Ethics Policy Section 2-292, subsection 2, subsection 3, and subsection 1, violation of confidentiality of the executive session, and Ethics Policy Section 2-298, subsection A, B, and C, which is coercion. The persons named above violated the very intent of our ethics policy, which states it is the intent of this code of ethics that public servants who serve the city of Hampton shall not knowingly engage in activity which is incompatible with the proper discharge of his or her official duties, or which would intend to impair his or her judgment or action in the performance of his or her official duties. Furthermore, public servant should avoid any action which might result in or create an appearance of the following: using public office for private gain, impeding the city's efficiency and economy, affecting adversely the confidence confidence of the public and the integrity of those who conduct the affairs and business of the city of Hampton. I contend that the subjects of this complaint have not only used their public office for private gain, they impeded the city's officially adversely impact the confidence of the public by voting to give Mayor Steve Hutchinson voting power in case of terminating the city manager. Below is the evidence that I submit to support this claim. The city charter, which is Senate Bill 609 for our city charter, the only city charter that governs the city. Article 2, governing bodies, section 2-28, removal of the city manager reads as following. The city council may remove the city manager from office in accordance with the procedures established by ordinance, and that is your Exhibit A. And that ordinance reads in subsection B, the original ordinance reads, removal of the city manager, the mayor may suspend with or without pay or terminate the city manager, providing, however, that before taking any such action, the mayor must obtain a written consent of at least 4 council members and shall inform the city council and the city manager at least 48 hours prior to action. Your Exhibit B, lines 13 through 17. The revised version of this ordinance, which is done in ordinance 463, states that the city council may suspend, and down at the end it says the mayor has the authority to vote in case of a tie. That's your Exhibit C. So the only thing in that paragraph changed was that the mayor does no longer require 4 written consent of 4 council members. He can vote in the event of a tie. The first reading was approved on October 2018 during the regular scheduled council meeting, and that's shown in your Exhibit D, lines 285 to 303. The second reading was approved on October 22nd during a special call meeting, which was scheduled for the sole purpose of a budget amendment to discuss the budget. However, under threat of not having a quorum for this meeting to be held, the agenda was changed to add this item. And that's shown in your new business in Annex E, lines 51 through 77. At a minimum, this act demonstrates an abuse of power by in every sense of the definition, and it also impedes the efficiency of the government. Per the ordinance, there was not a supermajority or 4 written consenting council members voting in favor of this ordinance change. Mayor Steve Hutchinson did not obtain a written consent of at least 4 of these members, and the city council to suspend with or without pay or to terminate a city manager. Mayor Steve Hutchinson, by law, had nor has any right to vote in this matter, as this ordinance would essentially give the mayor additional voting powers. And please see Appendix F in its entirety. Secondly, I submit to the ethics board that the defendants violated the confidentiality of executive sessions, whereas Steve Hutchinson, Councilman Henry Byrd, Councilman Errol Mitchell, Councilwoman Stephanie Goldie have conspired with members of the public to gain an unfair advantage for the sole purpose of terminating city manager. executive session, all conversations are confidential. I contend that the following evidence proves that the mayor and council members named in this complaint violated the confidentiality of the executive session and conspired with other members of the community to terminate Mr. Combs, the city manager. This constitutes a violation of Hampton Ethics Policy Section 2-298 coercion. Public servants shall not use his or her position in any way to coerce or give the appearance of coercion another person to provide any benefit to him or her or to the persons with his or her family or to those whom the public servant has business or financial ties. The public servant shall not use his or her position in any way to coerce, give the appearance of coercion, a city employee, an appointed official of the city, or a contract employee to provide any benefit to him or her or to persons of his or her immediate family. Background on this is on October 8th, when Steve Hutchinson stated that he wanted to terminate Mr. Coney, the city manager, and that he had the votes to do it. This was unannounced to me, as I was not contacted in relationship to this event until that meeting. I asked the mayor for his reasoning, and he stated that I just don't trust him. As discussion continued, it became clear that the mayor and Mayor Pro Tem received information from the accountant, or the account receivable person, that Mr. Cummings spent money that was earmarked for the youth council for a trip that he took as a member of the Ambassadors and Sneakers program to Germany, and then subsequently to Alabama and New York. As to evidence, it was all hearsay. There was no investigation conducted, whether it was internally or independent. The Mayor Pro Tem and properly stated that in speaking with the accounts receivable person, that it was revealed that the youth council account was overdrawn because the funds were paid to pay the Georgia Municipal Association annual conference, so the money was taken out of the wrong account by accident, as opposed to coming out of the city council account. This information was not brought back to the council for clarification, and that I point you to Appendix K, which is a memorandum from the CPA firm Abacus that we contracted to do an inquiry about our finances here in the city. No investigation was conducted regarding this, nor any other claim against the city manager at that time. In the same meeting, Attorney Wiggins stated that the mayor could not terminate the city manager without a supermajority of the council. The mayor was also informed that the ordinance must be changed to give him tie-breaking vote in the instance of terminating the city manager. However, at this time of the vote, the existing city ordinance still was in effect. This vote was abrupt and was not passed by at least 4 members of the city council. The mayor had no vote in this matter. A 3-3 tie means the measure should have been dead on the floor. Additionally, this is considered an illegal vote, as the mayor is voting to give himself power.
Mr. Martin, can you hear us now?
Jackson. And the development of ordinance 463, which was sponsored by Mayor Hutchinson, consideration for this ordinance to change, chapter 2 administration, section or subsection 2-120 city manager. City council on October 9th the city hall was filled beyond capacity, and members of the audience were there in support of the city manager. In this event, the mayor changed the rules for public comment, in which instead of allowing each person 3 minutes to speak, he decided to change it to 1 minute to speak. In addition, instead of opting for the opportunity to extend the public comments the second 15 minutes for a total of 30 minutes, he decided to cut it off at that point, which is inconsistent with what we have agreed to earlier in the year for a resolution. And in that, I refer you to Exhibit J. Councilman Mitchell, in the conversation surrounding the ordinance, stated that the intent was not to remove the city manager. That was actually a quote from our local newspaper in your Exhibit D on line 291 through 292. The subsequent conversation, Councilman Mitchell made it clear that he would not vote to terminate Mr. Conant as city manager. As evident by the chain of events, that Mr. Earl Mitchell was coerced by the defendant, or by the other defendant, and select members of the community to engage in unselfish, unprofessional, and unethical practices. I refer you to Exhibit M, which contains several newspaper articles in which the defendants were quoted praising Mr. Coney and then engaging with what Steve Hutchinson, the mayor, described as character assassination in that newspaper article. At the time of this event, it was Steve Hutchinson who led this character assassination effort against the city manager. Further evidence to the claim of coercion is that voting pattern of the defendant and Mayor Hutchinson up until approximately September of this past year. Earl Mitchell typically voted with the majority in 4-2 ties, which was something that was often mentioned by members of the public and referred to in acts inquiring why we having all these 4-2 votes. However, following this time frame, then you would see the pattern of the way that Mr. Earl Mitchell was voting.
I agree.
At this time, I would like to play an audio tape that I received from one of the members of the community.
Are we still in the opening statement phase of the hearing? Yes, we are. And the question I have is, everything he's saying now, then we entered into the record as far as this exhibit and this audio at this time? Okay. All right, thanks.
Probably don't recognize the number. Hey, Henry, this is Luann. You probably don't recognize the number, but Katie and I were wondering if you would talk to Errol to make sure that he's still on board with you and Stephanie voting for Steve to get the vote behind the closed doors. Give us a call, please. Thank you. Bye-bye.
On the 13th of November, correction, on the 22nd of October, Mr. Coney was terminated as city manager. However, prior to that date, Mayor Steve Hutchinson, in a illegal vote, voted to break a tie from the city council to give himself power, to give himself a vote in determination of a city manager, which is illegal. I will leave all the rest of this, complaint for you to discuss, or for you to read, and it's very clear and straightforward as to my intention, to hold every, member of this governing body accountable, according to the Jordan Municipal Association, and OSGA 36-30-6, voting upon questions by interested council members, it is improper and illegal for a member of a municipal council to vote upon any question brought before the council in which he or she is personally interested. That's her exhibit H. So I petition the board to consider the enclosed facts and seek out additional information if necessary. I trust that you will come to the same conclusion that the votes surrounding ordinance 463 is illegal and should be returned. I submit that even if the ordinance was legally done, that it being passed should not have taken effect until the next term, just as we do with the council voting for a raise for itself. It doesn't take effect until after the next election term. As a recap, I petition the council for the ethics board to make a timely decision and on this matter and recommend fair and just ruling on abuse of power by Mr. Steve Hutchinson, coercion by all the defendants named in this complaint, an illegal vote by Steve Hutchinson, and breach of confidentiality on behalf of all the members that are listed on here. Additionally, I do intend to proceed to forward this up through the legal chain, House of Representatives, the District Attorney's Office, and the Georgia Senate as well, because I think that this is a systematic problem that's happening in a lot of these little small towns and needs to be addressed and delivered. Thank you.
Seeing as the meeting members have a question. Y'all excuse me just a moment, before we go any further, I failed to introduce the committee before we got started. But when I left, Mr. Desmond McLean, Mr. Keith Strickland, Mr. Alfred Williams, the members of the committee at this time. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, one other thing, you did not read everybody their rights.
When he remembers, to call, to say the name. I'm gonna go ahead and read yours, even though, well, not your rights, but, swear you in. Do you swear and affirm that the testimony you just provided is the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. And then when you're gonna call your witnesses, you just want to know.
Mr. Carl Strickland.
Evening, members of the Ethics Committee. My name is Brian Strickland. I have the honor of representing Mayor Steve Hutchinson, Councilmember Henry Byrd, Councilmember Stephanie Bodie, Councilmember Errol Mitchell in this matter. And I'll be very brief on the opening statement. First off, as far as the time limit you guys have said, what I'd request the committee, instead of calling any additional witnesses, I'd like to use all my time for witnesses, which I show being 40 minutes total. I don't expect to use all that, don't worry. But I'll reserve all my time for witnesses and to add to my cross-examination time to be spent with Councilmember Brown, if that's okay with the committee versus calling the witnesses. Otherwise, I would stop and call him as a witness after I get done crossing him. I can go that direction if y'all like as well, but I'll give guidance when we get started on that. The evidence today will show that the action that was taken by the council that's at issue was consistent with the charter of the city. We had the issue where ordinance was inconsistent with the charter. So first off, there was an inconsistency issue, and controlling documents allow the mayor to vote on these kind of issues. But second, even setting that aside, the evidence is going to show that there's not a single ethics violation these folks committed. Instead, the actions they took were completely in compliance with the charter and compliance with the city ordinances that existed at the time. What we have here instead is a situation where one council member is abusing this process, trying to use the ethics committee to win a political fight. It's unfortunate. It happens all the time in politics. People disagree on things. He happens to lose the vote on an issue, and we happen to actually lose the city manager in this city. But this is not the venue to take that out on. And you're going to see, I think, when you get through listening to all this, there's not a single thing any folks did that would violate any part of the ethics code. And what the council member is actually trying to get you to do is to, what he says, override an illegal vote. Luckily for you guys, that's not something you have the authority to do. You guys are tied to the code of ethics, and there's not a single part of the code of ethics these folks violated. And your remedy is to sanction someone, recommend a sanction for someone that violated this code. And that's not what you've even asked for today, and asking for a vote to be overturned. So with that, members of the committee, I will stop my opening statement, and I will say everything else I have, the questions that I have for Mr. Brown. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I don't know, I guess it's you guys' determination on how you're gonna run your meeting. However, this isn't consistent with what I've experienced in the past. So, I don't, with the cross-examining, but also the time. How much time does he have to cross-examine?
For every alleged complaint, you have the amount, what I showed you on it. Well, that's for opening. So there's witness testimony, there's cross-examination, and there's closing time as well allotted. And it's going to be individual, just the way we've always, given you guys the opportunity per alleged violator. You have the same opportunity as he does. So you had a 20-minute opening because there's 4 violators. And he didn't use his opening time, that goes away. So he can only go for witness time now and cross-examination time. So it's, you actually have the floor if you have any witnesses that you want to cover.
I have none.
Mr. Strickland, one.
Yes, sir.
You have witnesses. Mr. Strickland.
I'd like to call Delton Brown as a witness. If it's okay, if I can be heard over here, I'll stand here and let him stand at the podium versus stand right at the top, if that's okay with everyone.
And he's already been sworn in.
Okay.
Chief,
Well,
the witnesses, or whoever is gonna come out, when are we gonna swear them in?
he'll swear his own witnesses in, because he can swear his own witnesses. I just swore him in because he was.
Mr. Brown, you understand you're under oath right now?
I do.
Mr. Brown, in your opening statement, you read through an exhibit you presented, which basically recited the complaint that you filed in this matter. I want to back up a little bit, though. That complaint was filed in December of last year, correct?
Correct.
I'm going to hand you what I marked as Exhibit 1. And I think I have enough copies for everyone, or I'll still have one in my hand. Mr. Brown, this is the email that you sent to Mayor Hutchinson on October 8, 2018, correct?
It is.
And below this is an article from the Henry Herald that's entitled Hampton City Council to possibly feature council versus city manager showdown, And it has an article from the Henry Herald, correct?
Yes, sir.
And if you will, please read the first paragraph of what you said to the mayor in this email.
It says, well, Mr. Mayor, I suppose this is what you wanted, to embarrass the city for everyone, to include your peers to see. Let the games begin. You had ample opportunities to take control of this mess. you and your peanut gallery has created. Now, you will be in the limelight for all to see.
What did you mean by let the games begin?
I've given this isn't the first letter or document that I sent to Mayor Hutchinson in reference to how he conducted the meetings and how our city council meetings or our special call meetings. And I've given him ample opportunity to change the way he did business so that it's fair to all members and all citizens. And he chose to favor what this group of folks that I refer to as the peanut gallery, they're the ones that are dictating what he does, to the point where if there's not even a public comment, he's calling and urging some of these personnel to come up by first name.
Can I stop you? Answer my question though, what games are you referring to?
I don't know.
Okay?
The games that he's playing with the city and the city government.
You know, I'm talking about this ethics committee, this process being a game?
No, because this ethics committee wasn't even really established at that point.
And well, who's the peanut gallery? Those are the voters you're referring to?
No, you want me to point them out?
Sure.
Okay. It's those folks back there in the back.
These are all voters in the city of Hampton,
They're all voters in the city.
You're talking, you're calling the voters the peanut gallery.
That's his peanut gallery. Those are the ones that when he makes a comment or when something takes place in the city council, those are the ones that stand up and cheer and disrupt the meeting.
Right.
without him.
Where's your peanut gallery tonight?
I don't have one.
Okay. Now, you also said that he'll be in the limelight for all to see. What are you talking about there?
Well, I'm not gonna continue to allow things to happen under the radar in this city. If I have a voice, I'm gonna make it known. I'm gonna hold them accountable any way I can.
Any way you can,
If that's,
including filing ethics violations against these folks?
if I feel it's an ethics complaint, then that's the board to decide whether it's valid, and then I come and have it heard before the board.
I'm gonna hand you what I've marked as Exhibit 2, and this is a copy of the ordinance you referred to earlier. You may have had this exhibit as well. You can
Yes, sir.
confirm what this is, if you will, for this meeting. Is this a copy of the ordinance that was passed in October you testified about earlier?
Yes, sir.
And this is where the mayor, the council and the mayor voted that the mayor would have a vote when it comes to the hiring and firing of the city manager, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And that was done October 22nd, 2018?
Yes, sir.
Now I'm gonna hand you what I marked as Exhibit 3. And I'm gonna refer back to some of these things to do this in the order best you can, I'll label them all for you.
We'll try to move some fast.
Okay, thank you. This is a copy of the complaint that you filed in this matter, is that correct? Second.
Yes.
Okay. Now I'm gonna walk through these allegations you make here in this complaint with you. The first thing you cite is Ethics Policy Section 2-292, 1, 2, and 3. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Now I've got a certified copy of your Code of Ethics for the City of Hampton. This is Exhibit 4. I have a big fire when I'm done, burning all this stuff. Now, the section you said that these folks violated first is on the first page here, correct?
Yes, sir.
Under intent. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And this is simply the intent of the ethics code. There's no actual thing someone can be found liable for under section 292, correct?
Well, that's your opinion, yes, sir.
Well, show me in here where it says someone is prohibited from doing certain conduct.
Their conduct violates these particular statements.
Okay, so you're referring,
They're using their office for public gain, or personal gain. And I feel that their conduct and the things that I presented violated that.
okay, as far as this first section of your complaint, though, it's limited to the intent section of the ethics policy,
That's right.
correct?
The intent is to keep them from doing these things.
Okay, the intent to keep them from doing. There's a couple things you allege in here in this one section. you say in your complaint that the mayor and the council members impeded the city's efficiency and adversely impacted the confidence of the public by voting to give the mayor voting power in the case of terminating a city manager. Is that what you allege?
Yes, sir.
And this is just your opinion, correct?
It's my opinion.
Because 3 other council members disagreed with you, correct?
That's right.
And this was a decision that council members were actually authorized by your charter and by your ordinance to make, correct?
Yes, they have the right to make their own opinions.
Well, let's get directly into what the law says they can do. I hand you what I marked as Exhibit 5. And this is a certified copy of Section 2-28 of your city charter. Now, Councilman, you understand the difference between the charter and the ordinances, correct?
I do.
And the charter is what trumps the ordinances, if you will, right?
Correct.
Okay, I'm sure we're on the same page with that. So it says in your charter in section 2.28, the city council may remove the city manager from office in accordance with the procedures established by ordinance. Is that what it says?
Yes, sir.
So it's safe to say that you guys on the council have the authority to set up ordinances that deal with terminating the city manager, right?
Correct.
Now I'm gonna hand you what I marked as Exhibit 6, this is section 2-21 of your charter. This section deals with the authority that the council members and the mayor has to vote in your charter. Is that right?
Yes.
And if you read a little ways down on this, tell me this is what it says. Except as otherwise provided in this charter, the affirmative vote of the majority of council members present and voting, excluding the mayor, comma, except in the case of a tie, comma, shall be required for the adoption of any ordinance, resolution, or motion. Is that what it says?
That's what it says, yes.
Is there anywhere else in your charter that you're aware of where it says the mayor cannot vote on any ordinance, resolution, or motion?
No. Can I make another statement?
Let me get to my questions, and I'm sure you'll have a chance to say more things if you want. I'm hand you what I marked as Exhibit 7.
Take 5 minutes to spare.
Thank you. Exhibit 7 is sections 2-31 through 2-51 of your code of ordinances for the city. And this section basically deals with the powers and authorities that the mayor and council members have in the city, correct?
Yes.
Under your code of ordinances.
Well, yes, the mayor or the mayor pro tem.
And the mayor pro tem as well.
Yes.
In section 2-40 of this, if you'll turn to page 3 of this. This deals with voting again in your ordinance. We talked about voting in your charter, now we're talking about voting in your ordinances. It says, unless otherwise specified in these procedures, a majority shall mean more than one half of the council members present, excluding abstentions and excluding the mayor, except in the case of a tie. So not only does your charter say the mayor votes, but your ordinances also say your mayor votes when it comes to any ordinances that are passed, any motions that are made, correct?
The ordinance that covers, termination of a city manager stated that the mayor requires 4 written consent.
And I'm not disagreeing with you on that. This is a separate ordinance that was in place, it's been in place as long as you've been in office, correct? The one that gave you.
Right, yes, sir.
So this was not what was changed, correct?
Right, and this is not the one that I'm disputing.
I understand that.
Okay.
But what I'm trying to show you is according to your charter and according to your ordinances, the mayor had the authority to vote on the motion that was made, that was Exhibit 2 we referenced earlier, correct?
Except in case of terminating the city manager.
And where is that in your code?
That's in the one that I referenced, that's in the ordinance that I referenced.
The ordinance that was changed, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Nowhere else does it say in your code of ordinances or in your charter that the mayor cannot vote, correct?
Right.
You also allege in your petition next that there was not a supermajority of the council voting in favor of this measure. Now, where in your city's charter does it require a supermajority to amend an ordinance?
It doesn't require a supermajority to amend an ordinance. What I am stating is that the particular vote to change the ordinance was tied 3-3, and the mayor, as the one that's gaining the authority or the power in that change, should not have had a vote.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
I know that's what you're contending, but I want to keep talking about what your charter says, what your ordinances say instead. Going back to Exhibit 6, Section 2-21 of your charter says the mayor could vote on that ordinance change, correct? And should vote. Is that correct?
It says on that, except as otherwise provided in this charter.
In the charter, and you said earlier, there's nowhere in your charter where it says otherwise, right?
Correct.
And then you get into the next part saying the mayor should have no vote if he has gaining interest.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Because the charter that we were going under stated that it needed 4 persons from the council to agree to terminate a city manager. And he did not have 4 members of that, council in favor of terminating that city manager. So as a workaround, he decided to change the ordinance to fit the situation.
Which he had the authority to do, correct?
I don't know. I would tend to disagree with that statement.
You disagree with the charter that your city has?
No, I disagree with the way you're twisting it to state.
Okay, let's stop this. Show what I'm twisting. I want to go back into Exhibit 6, which is your charter. That's why I made copies for you. Tell me how I twisted that. It's okay to disagree with it, but tell me how
I
I
disagree with it.
Okay,
And
that's fine.
I think I'm very avid in stating that I disagree with what you're saying. I understand what you're presenting as a charter, and I understand what you're presenting, but the circumstances and the situation, all those things add up to, in my opinion, that it's not right, and it's a violation of, or gaining power. You're voting to gain your own power.
That power you're referring to is a power for the mayor, not for the individual person, correct?
Correct.
I'm going to hand you a marked as Exhibit 8. This is another part of your charter. I'm sorry. Okay. Just to make sure I'm clear on my time, is that 5 minutes total?
Total.
And that's for?
What do you mean?
For the witnesses, and then what about who's cross-examining? There should be 3 minutes each for Mr. cross-examining.
Yes, we call it that.
Okay, and I also want to use my time for witness with him as well, you know, two
Well, the
witnesses as well.
I think the 5 minutes, 5 minutes is 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
So he's talking about you going into 20 minutes, so you may, we're not counting this time, but you'll have 15 additional minutes.
Okay, that's good.
Wait, not 15, 12.
Okay,
Sorry.
I should be wrapped up in that. I hate you doing that yet.
Yes, sir.
Right. Exhibit 8 is section 2-32 of your city charter as well, correct?
Yes.
And earlier I pointed to your city charter that talks about the mayor having the right to vote, and actually says he shall vote. But it's another place in your city charter here in section 2-32, on number 5, this is referenced as well, in the powers of the mayor, is it not? Let me just read this to you. It says, the mayor shall have the right to vote on all questions before the council when said vote is a tie, correct?
Yes.
Now, there's 2 places where your charter says the mayor has the right to vote on all questions where there's a tie, and there's nowhere where it says he can't, correct?
Yes.
Okay. These are marked as Exhibit 9. This is section 2-116 and section 2-117 and 2-121 of your Code of Ordinances for the city. At the top of this, it has the duties of the mayor, And including in those duties is to see that the laws and ordinances are enforced, see that each and every officer performs his duties, and to cause the officer to be prosecuted for neglect or violation, duty, or immoral conduct, to preside at all meetings of the council, and to cast the deciding vote in the case of a tie. You see all that?
Yes.
So your ordinances also, consistent with your charter, say that the mayor shall vote when there is a tie, correct?
Yes.
Now, I've talked about the first section of your complaint. Now I want to get into the second section. This is where you say that the council members and the mayor violated the confidentiality of executive sessions. And you say they have conspired with members of the public to gain unfair advantage with the sole purpose of terminating the city manager, Charles Coney. Are you referring solely to that voicemail you played earlier?
Yes.
And who was that voicemail from?
Ms. Pyle.
Is she here tonight?
No,
Did you ask her to be here tonight?
I did not.
And who received that voicemail?
I did.
So you don't know whether or not any council members or the mayor ever even received that voicemail, do you?
It came to my city phone.
Okay, so you can actually say they never received this voicemail, correct?
I don't know. But I'm just telling you how I got it.
Any other evidence you have of violations of executive session law?
No.
Let me hand you what I marked as Exhibit 10. This is Section 2-38 of your Code of Ordinances. And this is the only place in your code where executive sessions are addressed, correct?
Yes, sir.
And this says, executive sessions of the city council may be held for purposes of conducting business, accepted from public access requirements as authorized by OCGA sections 50-14-2 and 50-14-3. And then it goes on to say, no executive session shall be held except pursuant to majority affirmative vote of the council taken in a public meeting. And let's see, there's one thing I was going to say. Where a meeting of the council is devoted in part to matters in the authorized exceptions to public access requirements, any portion of the meeting not subject to any such exceptions, those two code sections I named, shall be open to the public. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And those two code sections, I'm going to hand you exhibits 11 and 12 for the record. Exhibit 11 is 50-14-2, and exhibit 12 is 50-14-3.
One minute remaining.
Then I'll kick into another time. Okay. How much time we'll have after that? Is that just closing after that? What you really complained about is the fact that you said that there was no conversations in executive session about the firing of the city manager. Is that correct?
That's part of it, yes, sir.
Okay,
There
so
was no conversation in that executive session regarding the termination of the city manager.
is there any requirement that you have an executive session in dealing with terminating a city manager?
No, but there is a requirement for executive sessions such as parking personnel, real estate, or litigation.
There's an exception that says that you can use executive session for those purposes, which is in front of you, correct?
Yes.
There's no requirement that you have executive session to discuss the firing of an employee in advance, is there?
Correct.
And even if someone had received that voicemail was just from a constituent asking a council member to vote a certain way, correct?
Yes.
Is there anything wrong with that?
Yes.
What's wrong
In
with
my
that?
opinion, because she's talking about something that we're discussing in executive session. And I would like to see if any, open record requests as far as what was discussed in executive session to determine how that citizen was able to gather what we're talking about or what is going to
You just said you never discussed firing the city manager in executive session, correct?
We did not talk about it in the session.
So how can someone violate any rules that don't exist in the first place, talk about something that never happened?
In this particular meeting, and I don't know which meeting you're referring to, however, the meeting where we came out of the executive session and Mr. Mitchell came out and made a motion to terminate the city manager, there was no discussion in that executive session about coming out here to do that action.
Which was not required, correct?
What's your interpretation?
For the law.
Is it
Time,
complete 12 minutes left?
complete 20 minutes.
Okay, so now he has 12 minutes left? 12 minutes is what he has remaining.
Okay. Thanks. Let's get to the last part of your complaint. If you'll pull back out, I think it's exhibit 4, that's that code of ethics. Right? Yeah. So, looking at exhibit 4, the last thing you allege against the council members and the mayor.
Yes. He's asking about the time, so I want to make sure, yes, they all get along. He was asked if he had any witnesses or any questions, and his response was
I don't know if I want to say anything.
but we can,
Okay, pretty good, okay.
okay? We can ask him again. Okay. I apologize.
That's fine, no, it's okay, it's hard, the way I did this especially is confusing with time, so I apologize. The last thing you allege in your petition is that the council members and the mayor violated section 2-298 ABC of the ethics policy. Do you have that in front of you? That's the coercion section. This is that, this one right here.
Is it 4?
Yeah, so look. The first section of this says, a public servant shall not use his or her position any way to coerce or give the appearance of coercing another person to provide any benefit to him or her, or to persons within his or her family, or for those with whom the public servant has business or financial ties. Tell me how, well, answer me this first. Tell me, who you allege actually went and did the coercing here? Who did that?
I don't know who initiated, but in my opinion, they're all a part of it because they're all stated or named in the voicemail that I received.
This is all based on that one voicemail?
So,
That you have no evidence any of these folks ever even received, correct?
I don't know what to do. Correct.
You have no evidence they received it, right?
Correct.
Do you have anything other than the voicemail you're basing this claim on that these folks violated ethics policy section 2-298 A, B, and C?
No, sir. That is the only thing that I want to submit.
And even if there was some violation there, what benefit did each of these council members and the mayor get?
I don't know what is promised to them, sir. I don't know what their deal or their plan or I don't know what any of that includes.
Well, this is your complaint. You made the complaint. So tell me what you're saying here today under oath, what benefits they got.
They got the benefit of terminating someone without, or falsely terminating someone, in my opinion, because the reason that they stated for terminating the person was not investigated, nor did that investigation turn up any wrongdoing, as was protocol that was established on previous members of the city staff prior to this event.
So the benefit they received is not having the city manager here anymore?
Well, I mean, that's affecting the city's performance because it hampers the performance of the city.
That's your opinion, right?
Well, yes, it's my opinion.
So tell me, outside of that advantage they received of having the city manager no longer here, what other benefit do these folks get?
I don't know what they got out of it, sir.
Are you alleging they got other benefits?
I don't know what they got out of it, sir.
Are you alleging they got other benefits?
I don't know what they got out of it, sir.
So yes or no question. Are you making allegations that any of these council members or the mayor received some other benefit for this vote?
I don't know.
You don't know if it's yes or no, or you don't know if there's any benefit they got?
I don't know whether the answer is yes or whether the answer is no, because I don't know what benefits they got. I have no evidence of them receiving any particular thing. so I don't know what they got out of it.
Why don't you say they didn't get any, why don't you say that? Why don't you say, I don't know of any benefit they got?
I don't know what benefit
Versus
they
making
got.
allegations like that.
I don't know what benefit they got, because I answered the question.
Well, actually, in here, you aggressively demand this is an illegal vote as the mayor cannot break a tie vote, which would give additional powers. Are you asking this ethics committee to overturn an illegal vote?
No, sir, they don't have that authority.
You agree they don't have that authority?
I know they don't have that authority.
And so tell me exactly, then, under the code of ethics, which code section do you think that they do have the authority to punish these council members and mayor under?
They don't even have any authority to punish anyone.
To recommend a punishment, excuse me,
Well, they can recommend anything
okay?
based on the events that they're presented.
So you've got it in front of you again, the
Uh-huh.
code of ethics, Exhibit 4. Just in summary, now that we've walked through the charter, walked through all the other ordinances, gone through your testimony, show me, in this code of ethics, show me a section that these individuals violated.
In my opinion.
No, I don't want your opinion, I want to know what you contend. You're on the road tonight, right?
Yes, sir.
You're on the record, tell me what they violate, don't give me your opinion, don't hide behind that.
8 minutes remaining. 8 minutes remaining.
Thank you.
I don't know how to answer your question, sir.
I don't care about your opinion, I care about what facts you have, what evidence you have.
Well, I presented the evidence I have,
Which was what?
what I presented earlier, sir.
The voicemail?
Yes, sir.
Is that it?
And the documents that.
What document?
The way that they voted.
All right, what document?
The documents that I handed you in the packet.
I didn't see anything there, you wanna show me? Here,
Yeah.
show me.
Then I assume my evidence is what I've provided you in these appendices. If you consider it as not being evidence, then that's your opinion. And now we're talking opinions. And my opinion is that they are.
Well, I've got
Your
just,
opinion is not.
I got just a little bit of time left, I'll tell you what I'm gonna do with that time. I want you to look through this document, you already talked about the audio recording, show me what other evidence you have that shows that these individuals violated the code of ethics.
Well, right now, I don't think I'm gonna do that, sir, because I'm not gonna allow you to stand here and bash me.
I get a chance to ask you questions all I want until my time expires. That's what happens when you file a complaint like this.
That's right, sir.
You might have to answer those questions.
I don't have an answer for this.
You don't have an answer, you can't show me any other documents,
I've already showed you all that I have to show you.
which was nothing, right?
That's what you said, sir.
No, show me. If it's not nothing, show me what it is. I'll stop as soon as you say I've got nothing else.
I'm not gonna tell you that.
Okay, so show me what documents you have.
I'll show you all the documents I have, sir.
Which was what?
Was my claim.
Okay, so show me in this packet here, show me any documentation that'll show,
But, one moment. Mr. Brown has given the council his package of evidence. He's also given you his package of evidence. The questioning that you're asking, the things that you're going back and forth over and over again, if you have not reviewed that packet yet, then you should review the packet and then ask your question, because right now, we're just giving back and forth.
well, I think I have an obligation to my clients and a right to go up here and ask them questions, which includes me saying, here's your packet, show me in here where something violates code of ethics. I can't just take this for what it's worth that he gave me. So I think respectfully, I have the right to ask these questions.
Again, Mr. Brown is giving you the packet. Review the packet and ask your question.
That's not how this process works. Are you telling me I can't ask questions right
I'm
now?
telling you to review the packet and ask your question.
Council asked for some guidance. Thank you.
In this portion of it, we're listening to one attorney ask questions over and over and over.
Because I don't get an answer. He could have an attorney if he wants, he doesn't have one.
All he's asking for him to show him is where in the packet he wants us to, where's the violation. This is the packet we just received right now.
Okay.
So he just
I haven't
asking
seen
him
this
to point
before.
us to where, or to point him to where, not us, because we're gonna look at this ourselves.
As I stated before, sir, everything that I submitted as an exhibit in that packet is a violation, and that is in my opinion.
So is your answer to his question, your allegations are that exhibits A through N
Correct.
are
what you're testifying to today violates the three, standards that you're talking about.
Correct.
So,
And I'm not gonna sit here and let him put words in my mouth and tell him what he wants me to tell him. I'm just gonna answer the question based on what I feel as though I am.
Exhibit A in your packet, let's turn to that, please. You still have a packet?
I gave him my time.
Show me in Exhibit A, show me where that is evidence of a violation of the Code of Ethics.
Exhibit A shows what our current, our previous, charter states for removing a, city manager, and it says reference the ordinance. The ordinance that we had in place said that the mayor needed to have 4 consenting statements, written statements, in order to remove a city manager. The mayor did not have that.
That would stay consistent with your charter in 2 places, correct?
Well, I didn't write the charter, so
I'm not saying you did.
I'm just supposed to abide by it.
Do you agree with
And that's what the
me?
charter reference, so as far as the consistency or the inconsistency between the charter and the ordinances, that's before my time.
Well, setting that
All I'm
aside
saying-
even.
All I'm saying is that at the time that this matter came up,
Mhm.
the charter says reference the ordinance. The ordinance says you needed 4 votes.
That ordinance was changed, correct?
Yeah, they changed the ordinance.
Pursuant to the rules and your ordinances and your charter, it says they can vote on an ordinance change,
They can
correct?
vote on an ordinance change. However, on an ordinance change, I contend that the mayor should not have voted because he was the gaining party.
You say that, where in your charter does it say that, and where in your Code of Ordinances does it say that?
I don't know where that is, or even if it's in there.
Not there. Is it?
I just answered you. I said, I don't know if it's in there or where it is in there.
Exhibit B, I got 2 minutes. I'll just use the time I have left to do it. Exhibit B, tell me how Exhibit B provides evidence that any of the council members or the mayor violated the Code of Ethics.
All Exhibit B does is reference removal of the city manager, and it says in here, it requires at least 4 members of the city council.
That's just the old ordinance, correct?
Correct, that's the old one, so all I'm doing is showing the old one for the current, to the current one, and then the new one. That's all those are.
Okay, is that the rest of the exhibits, is that all we have? Is that what Exhibit C is as well? I can speed it up if that's what it is.
Exhibit C is the new ordinance that is already in place.
Okay.
So the charter says you need 4 votes.
No, the ordinance said that, right?
The ordinance says you need 4 votes, but the charter says refer to the ordinance. The ordinance says you need 4 votes.
Mm-hmm.
Then we turned around and we changed the ordinance to require or to allow the mayor to vote. And in that change, the mayor voted for himself to have additional power, and that's where I'm contending.
Yeah, you're contending, but again, nowhere in your ordinances say that's a violation, nowhere in the charter says it's a violation, nowhere in the law says it's a violation, does it?
If I was as good as attorney as you are, maybe I can speak it to make it say that.
Well, you mentioned earlier wanting to talk to the state senate, the state house. You have the authority to change your charter by way of the legislature, correct?
Well, I'd like
You disagree with it?
We do have that authority to do that.
Mhm.
However, I'd like to get input from those different offices as to whether or not what was done here is legal or not. So I can inquire.
All right, we're gonna leave. You need to give these exhibits to you.
I have mine exhibit.
Let me count to make sure I didn't.
I have up until exhibit. I have it up until exhibit 12. I think there was a question from the committee as to Mr. Brown's time. For a question, if you wanted to make a statement or something with regards to the question, if you wanted to add something. Mr. Alfred, were you not having a question about Mr. Brown's time to ask questions or?
I have,
And also, just to remind the board, you can ask questions of Mr. Brown, and you can also ask questions of
Yeah.
the
Okay, I got 4 questions, and, I need the, attorney, to please, swear in Mr. Hutchinson, Earl Mitchell, Henry Byrd, Stephanie Bowden.
Will all raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in the matter of opinion for this committee, be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Do you mind if we have them stand with the exception of the mayor?
Except for the mayor. Mayor cannot, but.
Let me do it again.
Yes.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in the matter of opinion for this committee, be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Mr. Byrd, will you please step toward the podium? Mr. Byrd, please step toward the podium. There's a recording that we just heard. I'm going to ask you a question, 2 questions. 1, have you ever received a request such as that from a local individual or another council member?
No, sir.
Okay? The other, was a investigation done in reference to the misuse or misappropriation of funds by the city manager, to the best of your knowledge, was one done?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Bodie, please step to the podium. Question 1, phone conversation. Have we received a phone call asking you, in order to do any things that we just heard in the message, by any member of the city council or outside the city council? Second question, based off the investigation for the city manager for misappropriation of funds or misusage of funds, was an investigation done by the city in reference to any of that? To the best of your knowledge, was one done? An investigation in reference to an employee of the city for allegations, was an investigation done internally or outside in reference to those facts?
We received an email at one time stating about an investigation was to be done, as far as the result of it.
So you don't know if one was done or not? Mr. Mitchell, please step to the podium. Mr. Mitchell, in reference to the phone conversation that Mr. Brown on his city phone, we have heard, have you received or have any knowledge of a conversation in reference to what was alleged on that phone call, as far as voting rights?
No.
Second question, was an investigation done in reference to the city manager and the funds being removed or been misused done by the city or any outside agency of the city?
No, and if that's so, there'll be, executive session that we discuss that. But yes, no.
Okay, as the city pro tem, mayor pro tem, was the investigation, should an investigation been done based off human resource management?
I have no knowledge of what human resources decides on. You don't know that there was no investigation was done.
You said no investigation was done.
What was asked?
No one was not asked. Do you know that it's required?
I object to him answering the question that he gets to rely on counsel from the city if whether or not something's required. That's stretching out to answer that question.
Have you had an opportunity to talk to your city council?
I trust you not to testify about anything the city council attorney told you.
Okay. Did you receive any benefits from any vote that you have passed?
No. Illegal.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, you stay where you are?
No, good enough.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, Do you have any knowledge or any information in reference to that phone conversation that we just heard?
No, sir, I did not.
Okay. In reference to the city manager, to the best of your knowledge, was an investigation done in reference to what alleged to occur or did not occur?
No, sir, not that I know of.
You trying to say you're not to answer this, but do you know why the investigation was not done?
I don't think it was requested by any of the council people.
Is it required by state law?
And that's what I was asking, I think.
It was my turn.
Okay, that's my last question.
Hey, Mr. Mayor, before you sit down, I want to ask
Yes,
a
sir.
question. And I'm referring back to, Councilman Brown's statement. He said Attorney Barnes Williams stated that the mayor could not terminate the city manager without a supermajority of the council. It says that you were informed that the ordinance must be changed to give him a tiebreaker, vote in the instance of terminating the city manager.
Sir, I can't speak to that because that was all discussed in executive session.
Okay, okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Who received the voicemail? Mr. Brown, did you receive the voicemail that came in from Ms. Powell? You said
Yes, it came to my city phone, but it was, directed to, Mr. Henry Burke. You want to say it again?
If you don't mind, if you do, but yeah. And what I'm understanding is that this was a message that was intended for Mr. Berger, but accidentally came to your phone.
Correct.
Okay.
Let's say one thing to the record, and we can move on from the record. I know that y'all have, you don't actually go by the rules of evidence particularly, but I will say this is all hearsay, there's no evidence. This person never even made this call. This person was not asked to come and testify today. And, if they were asked to testify, they should testify about whether or not they actually made this call, who received it. You can't testify about any of that. I just want to put that on the record. I know your rules of evidence still allow you to hear this.
Hey, Henry, this is, Ruben, and you probably don't recognize the number, but Katie and I, were wondering if you would talk to Errol to make sure that he's still on board with you and Stephanie, voting for Steve to get the vote behind closed doors. Give us a call, please. Thank you. Bye-bye.
So the only thing that I would like to add, is that this recording suggests, and I know the person isn't here to speak in person, I didn't call the person to come and be a witness. I'm not an attorney, nor am I a politician, but it pretty much says that still on board. So to me, this message suggests that they've already had a conversation about this. And it's just a reminder, to talk to someone that may be on the bubble to go the way they want to go. And to me, that's my complaint.
Is this part of your closing? Do you think we're ready?
That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, members of the committee, and thank you for allowing me to represent my client fully tonight in the hearing. And I just want to say this, it's obvious to me as I went through the code of ordinances and went through the charter that there was no violation. Going back to the actual vote itself, we know there was inconsistencies with the charter and the code. Setting that aside, these council members and the mayor have the right to have a resolution that changes their ordinances. There's nothing that prevents them and their code and or the law, the charter, from voting to change an ordinance. And when they vote, it's clear, as the law I gave you says, from their charter and from their ordinances, that they all vote on that, and the mayor breaks the tie on that. So, setting aside the inconsistencies of the charter and the code, this was a complete legal vote they had the right to do. And then getting into this voicemail, it's obvious there's no evidence this was ever received. I think actually, to the contrary, the officer probably never heard this message before. Never was received by anybody, this person's not here to testify, but let's just assume that this person was here. And she said, yes, I coordinated with these folks, I called them, we got together, we made sure we got the vote to go a certain way. They have every right, under Georgia law, under the charter, and the ordinances, and honestly, they have an obligation to the people of the city to listen to them. And they can take calls from any citizen they want to take a call from. They can call each other, and they can give advice to each other about how to vote on things. There's no law that says they can't do that. Truly, I think they would be doing their job if they didn't do that. They should do their homework. They should talk to each other. They should talk to citizens. They should listen to that peanut gallery. That's who puts them in office. And so even if this was proven, even if, well, there is no ordinance that is violated, there is no charter violated, no law violated. This was them actually upholding their duty as council members, if that even happened. So there's nothing illegal before you go on that rabbit trail of that even happening anyway. Lastly, I just want to say this, it's kind of how I started. The last thing the city of Hampton needs is more of these ethics hearings. This is going to be in the paper, I'm assuming. Somebody with their type everything or say. This is not good for our city to have ethics complaints going back and forth. These folks should battle it out. They should disagree. They should have these discussions with each other, with the citizens in a council meeting. It's okay to disagree. That's what politics is all about, right? We all fight, we fight it out, we disagree at times, we learn from each other, we're right sometimes, we're wrong sometimes, we go get dinner together afterwards. That's what makes this country work so well. But what we don't need is this process to be abused. And when you disagree with somebody, and I think it's obvious Councilman Brown disagreed with this decision. He cares a lot about the decision. He cared a lot about that city manager, and that's okay. I mean, that's great that he had that position. He should share that position. But that should be done at the ballot box. If he disagrees with something someone else did, or citizens disagree, they should vote that person out. That's what this process works. Not have ethics complaints flying, saying somebody's unethical. Think about how that looks for their families. And most of us are used to this. We have thick skin. We get called names all the time. As a lawyer and as a politician, I get called names all the time. I get used to it. But that's not how this process should work, especially at the local level. Saying someone's unethical, or their family in the town has to hear that, that's just wrong. That needs to stop. What I hope is that this ethics committee will make a strong statement tonight and deny these allegations, dismiss this complaint, and make a strong statement and say, you know what, when you come back before this ethics board, make sure you've actually got a complaint. If you want to go to a different court, if you want to sue on something, if you want to fight somebody campaign, go to that venue. But don't go down this road of using ethics complaints to beat up on each other. But once again, thank y'all so much for your time tonight.
At this time, we'll call this meeting recessed while we go into executive session.
Thanks for being here.